if he wants to decide who's going to be first, he has to go through William Trimbletoe.
You know all that now?
Well, I never did learn the William Trimble.
I never will forget what you called
Stick
me
finger in there.
long distance
I'll teach you real quick.
and wanted me to
Slow learn.
recite William Trimble over the telephone.
Who did?
Tim.
Yeah.
The colonel over there.
Tell me what it is.
And at first I couldn't figure out what he wanted. Well, he said, we want to record it so we can have it as Caleb grows up or something or another.
Well, did you get it recorded?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And when do you use it?
Well, you know how you do one potato, two potato? Well, instead of doing that, you have all the kids put the fingers in.
Uh-huh.
You point at the fingers. William Trimbletoe, he's a good fisherman. Catches hens, puts them in the pen, some lay eggs, some none, wire, limberlock, 3 geese, and the flock. By this point, Caleb's just dying laughing. He just thinks this is funny. One flew east, one flew west, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Oh, you...
Let's take these out.
Can you smile a little bit, Caleb?
Okay, how's that?
I got a lap full of what? No, a lap full of sweet grandsons, great grandsons.
Look here.
Just kind of smile.
Look here. Lauren, watch what I can do. Come on.
Now, if I was like I used to, I'd count your ribs before you got up. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's.
I'm not coming home whistling and all that too.
Give him a little promise.
Are you going to do it, Daddy?
Hmm?
You going to do it?
Caleb, can you sit back?
You gonna do club fist and William Trimbletoe?
Do it with the little boys, Daddy.
Hmm?
Do club fist with the little boys.
You know how to play club fist?
No.
No, sir.
Y'all come stand on either side
Yeah.
of it, and I'm going to get in on that too. Come in. Because I'm going to see who's going to get a pinch or a
Get down
handful
on your
or
knees and I'll
what.
show you how.
Stand, get on your knees and pop off. Come on. Justin, get on your knees and look up there. He's going to play club fist.
Oh, don't.
Do it.
Thumb fist up there.
Now you do the other one. You catch that one. Now you catch this one. Catch it. Now I'm going to ask you what you got there. You say club fist. What you got there?
Club fist.
Now I'm going to ask you, where's my share? You say the cat got it. And where's the cat? You say in the woods.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say,
Where the woods?
where's the woods? You're going to say the fire burned it.
Tell you.
And then I'm going to say, where's it far? You're going to say the water put it out.
The water put it out.
And I want to say, where's the water? You're going to say the ox drank it.
Say the ox drank.
Then I'm going to
The
say,
ox drank
where's the ox? You're going to say the butcher killed it.
The butcher got
And then I'm going to say, where's the butcher? You're going to say the rope hung him. Then I'm
rope hugging.
going to say, where's the rope? You're going to say the rat gnawed it.
Say the rat gnawed.
Then I'm going to say,
Rat gnawed it.
and then I'm going to say, where's the rat? Then you say the hammer killed it.
The hammer killed it.
Then I'm going to say, where's the hammer? You say it goes down on the church house steps. And the first one cracks so small, just 3 pinches, 3 hair pulls, and 3 slaps.
Don't crack a smile.
That's what's supposed to happen. You see, you say the first one that
No,
cracks
I
a
didn't
smile gets
give
that.
all of it. Let's start over again.
That's-
You catch that one. And then you hold those up, and you catch that. And then you hold that up, and you catch that. Now I'm going to ask you, What you got there? You're gonna say club fist.
Club fist.
Take it off, knock it off, shoot it off. If you want to take it off, just take it off. If you want me to shoot it off, I'm gonna shoot it off.
Shoot it off.
Bang!
Oh, take it off.
Come on, God.
Wait, you put yours there.
Put yours on top, Kevin. Your other one.
What you got there? You say club fist.
Okay.
Oh no, Justin, you've already gotten
Say
shot
club
off.
fist.
You got one. So you got another.
Oh, but one
Then I'm gonna say, take it off, knock it off, shoot it off.
You want me to take it off?
Boom!
Knock it off, Papa.
Then I'm gonna,
Then you start off with what you
then
got.
I'll say, am I? No, I'm about to forget it myself. And I'm gonna say, where? I say, what you got there? You say,
Club fist.
club fist. And I say, I'm gonna say, where's my share?
What do you say?
Cat got
What do
it.
you say?
Where's the cat? In the woods. Where's the woods? Fire burned. Where's the fire? Water put it out. And where's the water? Ox drank it. And where's the ox? Butcher killed. And where's the butcher?
And
The rope hunter.
Rope hung him. And where's the rope? Rat gnawed it. And where's the rat? Hammer killed it. And where's the hammer? Buried under the church house steps. And the first one that cracks a smile. Just 3 pinches, 3 slaps, and 3 hair pulls.
Oh, Caleb.
You better not smile. You better not smile. You can get
I mean, his eyes were working, his nose was working.
You want to shoot it off, you this.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, he did. He started laughing.
oh, what is the thing where you say you got to go home whistling? What is that?
Well, that's really
I got a
a
game.
part of William and
I got a
Somerset.
game.
The whole, when you finish it, all
no,
of
no,
it,
Kevin, get back.
to give everybody a name as it come off, you see.
I have a game that's called Eeny, Meeny,
Name of anything, a horse, mule, a donkey, cow, giraffe, a lion, and then more after them.
Here, look
You
still.
go say, what you gonna bring with you? Gold spoon, a gold dish, and a fat raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
Then you ask him which you'd rather ride. An animal, or, an elephant, or a giraffe, or cow. And if he names himself, he comes on to tiptoe whistling. But if you name someone else, they got to go and let him ride them. You got to ride him back in. That's the way we used to play it. I don't know. That's been a long time.
Can we go to the park? What?
Like this?
It'd also be real expensive trying to carry on 2 households.
Are you on leave right now?
William.
No, sir. They don't
Go.
consider my first day on active duty until I report in. So they didn't even give me any
Tim?
time.
So he's
to
currently
get
unemployed.
2 points.
Warbar, Limberlock,
Well, after that, you can see them where you go.
All right.
one flew east, one flew west, one flew
And they're not going to pay for
there.
Sonia and Caleb going.
Look who's awake.
Well, my.
Connection with something else I'm telling or doing.
Now, how long were you in the teaching profession?
I spent 50 years in schoolwork, everything from teaching to superintendent of schools.
And that's something you did for a long time, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Weren't you superintendent for a long time?
28 years.
28? Was that an elected position?
Elected by a school board. School board's elected by county or wards or parishes here in Louisiana. And then they in turn elect the superintendent of schools.
Mm-hmm.
I had 8 school board members most of the time. And every 4 years they elected me to serve as superintendent of schools in a 4-year period.
I see. So you were accountable to them, I guess.
Hmm?
You were accountable to them?
And I set, the board established policies with my help, recommendations. If I had something I thought they should consider that would help with the school problems, school setup, I'd recommend it. And then they'd either amend it or adopt it or reject it. Usually I was fortunate. I never had very many rejections. Most of them accepted. And then it was up to me to see that the policy adopted was carried out. Not the superintendent's, a lot of his responsibilities, to carry it out to the principals and the schools and the people, to let them understand what the board's trying to do.
Now, you actually went to a normal school one time, didn't you?
I started out over here when it was an old normal school. I finished 2 years over there when it was a normal school before it was a university.
Now, did they have a normal school and an abnormal school?
No, this is just what they had. It might have had some abnormal schools, but this what were referred to certain standards that you had to comply with before you could get a certain grade certificate to use to teach with. Back in those days, you didn't have to have an A.B. degree or B.S. But I didn't get my B.S. degree till 28. I'd teach and come back in the summertime. I had a wife and some children I had to feed. And so in the summertime, when school was out, I'd spend that time down here and usually bring the family with me. Get out an apartment somewhere and spend the summer here. They'd stay and visit and rest, and sometimes they'd go on down to their boat. But I spent enough to make certain credits during the summer. And then when I was elected supervisor of schools, I had to go ahead and get my master's, and I had to go to LSU to get in. And I got most of it in the summertime, some of it by extension. And I was so tied down to the responsibilities of the school board office until I never tried to work any on my doctorate at all. I would have liked to, and probably would have if I'd been in some other phase of it, but you just can't take off from the job to do that. You have to do like Woody did.
Did you ever think about teaching at the university?
Hmm?
Did you ever thinking about teaching at a university?
Really not. I did a little college teaching in the lab school 1 or 2 summers in my field, major field, biology. But after I got into the superintendent's office, I never had time for anything else.
What did you think of that dissertation of Woody's? What did you think of Woody's dissertation?
I thought it was, I commend him for it. I think he's to be commended for doing what he's done at the age that he did. It's not many young men can do it, or do it. Some of them might could, but they don't. And back to business, I think all you boys should be commended for what you've accomplished. You and Tim and Woody, and I think John's going to come around.
He seems to be. He really does. Well, you've set a good example for us.
Well, I try to for all you boys. And I'm proud of all my grandchildren.
Do you have any particular favorite scripture?
You know what?
Any scripture that's real favorite to you?
Well, John 3:16, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it is. That's a good one. Excuse me. Now, you did a lot of gardening back in your day.
Oh, I always enjoyed digging out in the soil. More for recreation and exercise than trying to grow something to eat, but it's good for both.
At the First Baptist in Natchitoches?
So far, it's going all right. Lots of people, when they drop out, they can have what kind of pledge they made, it drops out too.
Yes. Well, how big is that church now?
Oh, I don't. Some 15 churches. But they, good Lord has a way of taking care of those things. You give him time.
Yeah, I think he'll eventually weed out the shaft.
Well, I'm not objecting to good staff. I believe in it. I am objecting to, unless you know for sure that you can maintain it at the proper level. And they've recently added I think your mother talked with him. T-Bow's in there as a kind of a family counselor man.
Who is that?
D-Bow's or someone.
Oh, DuBois? Ron DuBois?
She knows because she worked with him. But there's a lot of church families that spread all to pieces. And if anybody can put them together, they ought to be able to do it.
Would you still keep up with the Baptist church there in Coshada any?
How is that?
Do you still keep up with the Baptist church there in Coshada?
Well, I did for a while, but I couldn't. I don't anymore. Maybe I played this First Baptist. And I'm living there with mother and dad, and if they were not members of that First Methodist, Pentecostal, First Methodist, they sure miss an awful lot, because they're very important in that church. And I try to make a little contribution to them, because I feel like my grandchildren played at the gym over there. Things, so I kind of split mine up, but I keep up the pledge I originally made. Oh, I'm trying to. I hope I can.
I bet they wish they had a lot more members that were that conscientious about their pledges.
Well, you're not trying to please the finance committee or something or another. You're dealing with the Lord's business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got that ultimate
I think-
account up there.
And I think he knows all about it. In fact, I know he knows all about it.
Beer.
Usually you didn't want more than one little cup. I never did. I never did like it.
You didn't? I thought that was good stuff, Daddy.
I like the kind of beer he used to make. It's the only kind I could ever drink.
What did he make that of?
Take the skimmings on the top, put it in an old barrel out there, and just leave it until it fermented and it would separate. And the bottom of the beer would be the beer, and the top part would be the skimmings. And he gave that to the hogs.
The skimmings? You'd have some happy
And
hogs,
once in a
wouldn't you?
while they got too much beer in it, and they'd get made them drunk.
Kind of
Did they
like
go-
people, huh?
Did they go hog wild when that happened?
Oh, listen to you.
You had to put them in a pen and feed them corn for so long.
Daddy, it took me a long, long time to realize what the smokehouse was. Never was real quick to catch on to things, I suppose.
I can still smell a thing.
Yeah. Did they keep a fire in the center of it all the time?
He used to have, I don't know, at times I've seen ham after ham hanging in that hickory smoke, soaking
Mhm.
up that.
Seems like I remember sides of something. What would that have been?
Sides of bacon.
Sides of bacon. Now that's one thing that Grandmother Dowie's always had for me.
Yeah.
You know, the safe of the old stove? If she knew I was coming, she had me a few pieces of bacon up in that safe.
I helped my dad scrape, we called it, a mini 200-pound shoat.
It's a pretty big pig, isn't it?
Huh?
That's a pretty big pig, isn't it?
Yes. But I've seen him handle them by himself until the boy got big enough to help him a little.
How in the world did he do that?
One day, he just put his barrel in the ground at an angle and fill it full of water, scalding water. And then he'd take the hog and take it head first up in that thing, and he'd pull it out every little bit to see if the hair was
Oh,
loose enough to take off. Then he'd turn it over the other way.
and he was manhandling this big old hog by himself. He was not a big man, Daddy, as I remember.
That's right, until we got, sometimes he let us pull them out and have them scrape them and help them hang up. He always had to have a place to hang them, and what we called gut them. Cut them right down the middle and take all the entrails out.
What did you do with the half?
Bacon you
Oh,
get
okay, okay. So the bacon was just the first layers under the, okay, I got you.
Of course, a lot of time he cut it up and roasting side pork, lay it on a scaffold over the smoke.
Daddy, one of the funniest expressions I ever heard, Mr. Adams, what was his name out from Coshada?
Yeah,
Lemoyne's father. I don't remember what his name was.
that was Edward's Adam.
Mr. Edward Adams, that's right. And what was it he would say about
Oh, yeah.
chitterlings?
Hmm?
What did he say about chitterlings?
He said he could eat chitlins all the way from his house to ours with a punch at every mailbox.
He must have loved those things.
He did love them. I don't know, I wouldn't eat them up. You give them to me.
Well, there is one segment
Have
of
a good
society
day.
that does that today.
It was okay, Papa. Wasn't real good.
Dad, I think he had to work. He was no longer on vacation.
Yeah.
That's not too good.
You work today?
Mm-hmm. He worked at iCare. One of the funniest things I remember when you lived in the house, the really old house that had the hall right down the middle, and it seems like Uncle Pete, I remember the most, had gone out and caught some big old bullfrogs, and y'all were going to cook those things. You were going to fry the frog legs. He didn't take the tendons out, Daddy. Those things jumped all over the kitchen floor. I was just a little tight, but I can remember that.
Crazy things he did. That might have been Grover, though. Nanny had chills and fever. For a long time they thought it was malaria.
Kidneys.
And she had to take Grove's chill tonic. And I'd carried 2 or 3 extra bottles out there. And he emptied every one of them.
Not down the sink. Did he take those?
I don't know whether, I don't know, I just remember when we needed some more, we didn't have it.
How much alcohol
But
was in the
it
stuff?
was just as well. When they finally diagnosed her problem, it was that
Like
kidney
kidneys.
stone in her kidney.
Uh-huh. She had that for a long time before it was diagnosed.
She suffered misery from it.
Oh, from a kidney.
And until we moved to East Point, and I got up to the old doctor I knew down in Elizabeth, who had given up a big meal practice to go to the hospital, Highland Hospital.
Highland or Tri-State?
Huh?
Highland or Tri-State?
Tri-State,
Was this Dr.
I guess.
Was this Dr. Allens?
And he ran some tests. He was a very dear friend of mine. I remember going up there one time and I couldn't see anybody, but I mean, it was on that Saturday. She got so sick I carried her on up. And he was in his office, but everybody else was gone. I said, well, I'll just have to bring her back. He says, the lab staff, I'll need some lab tests. And I don't have anybody to run them. I says, well, we'll just have to come back Monday, visit East Point then. He says, no, you come go with me. You're going to spend the night at my house. So we spent the night with our doctor.
You know, Dr. Roy Cook may be the only living doctor today that would do such as that. The only one I
A
know.
lot alike.
A man with a heart.
And he was the one that, although he was a urologist, he was the one that diagnosed little Nigel's trouble. They'd called in everybody. Nobody knew what it was.
Encephalitis was pretty rare, Daddy.
And I met him one day in a hall where he saw me coming and he waited. He said, Sigler, you're a little girl. I'm almost sure. Has encephalitis, a form of sleeping sickness. Said, I had a brother Claude that was a doctor over at Ringgold that died with it.
He says there's too many similarities. And that's what they finally diagnosed him.
Daddy, I think Dr. Ben Allen's first learned to love you through your basketball playing down in Elizabeth.
He'd slip off and just practice up at the mill every time he found out we was having a good basketball game. Came down there to watch it.
Did you always play basketball? Did you always play basketball even when you were a little kid?
Well, I did, and then I coached it. I was coaching it then.
Yeah, in Elizabeth you were coaching it. Uh-huh. Did y'all have a high school team that you played on?
Oh, yeah, one of the best.
Well, sure.
We went back out and beat Fairview, and they didn't like it much. They had some big boys in Elizabeth High School. Charlie Moore, Claudia Reed, a Bailey boy, George Laird.
Daddy, you're remembering back almost 70 years. How can you remember names like that?
They were good ball players.
I never have understood how you and your cousins got together to make the Sigler Simmons basketball team at Old Normal then.
Elmer he left, went to Wake Forest. He was going to make a preacher. And he did. He was a good preacher. But then he came back and taught school one year on a provisional certificate. I don't remember the details of how it happened, but Coach Prather offered us all. We got a good club, and he offered us all a athletic scholarship if we come to Old Normal. That's the reason we all got in there. There's two Sigler cousins and 3 Simmons brothers.
They were brothers. I don't think I even knew that.
There's Elmer and Wilmer and Clint. And Elmer is just a little older than I am. And I understand he's in an old age home at LeCount. He married my first cousin, Frances Hamilton. And her mother had died of tuberculosis. She had a brother and a sister that died of the same thing.
That was so prevalent back then. We can treat it
They
today.
didn't know how to treat it.
Poor Madison.
Here's your...
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Daddy, can't you tell what I want? Say, Daddy, can't you tell what I want?
You gonna get all your sugar?
I think we better get you some dry clothes on, son. We didn't get any of his diapers in, did
Hey, Mommy.
Leave in the car.
Hey, Mommy.
we? I'll go get your diaper and I'll be right back. I'll go get your diaper and I'll be back.
She's gonna get you some dry britches. She's gonna get you some dry britches. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's gonna get you some dry, oh, yeah.